Welcome to Sketch Card Hive, and today we're going to be talking about modern Marvel card collecting. So we're just going to go over a few things today. This will be a multi-part video, but there's also a giveaway I'm doing. I want to reach 500 subscribers. Now the reason I'm trying to reach that number is so we can do live content on here. Box breaks, giveaways, live discussions every week, and get that kind of content on this channel. So if you can, like, subscribe, follow, and I'm going to give you some incentive and give away this 1992 Marvel Masterpiece uncut sheet. Now this is a prototype uncut sheet. These are the cards that were given at con, and on the back of them they all say prototype. So it's a very cool giveaway. Please check it out. All the details are in the description down below and on my Instagram. But we're trying to reach 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel. More details to follow. Now let's get into the video. This is going to be about modern Marvel card collecting. Now this is going to be a multi-part, and I'm going to get into some of the details of the more interesting inserts that collectors are now finding out about, and some that are kind of not well known. Now I know all of you familiar with buying boxes from the 90s. These boxes would have complete sets, right? You can find them at grocery stores, convenience stores, local comic book stores, and so forth. That does not exist now. If you've tried to find some Marvel cards before watching this video, you understand how impossible it is to find them unless you're at a flea market that has them, and if you do find them, they're in yellowed sleeves, soft corners, just really bad shape. And it's kind of a miserable experience to find Marvel cards today. This video should help you see some good resources and get around that. So a couple of things right off the bat. No, when you buy modern Marvel cards today, just because you buy one box of cards does not guarantee you a full set. Sets are very massive now, and it's become more of a choose your own type of adventure, right? Do you want to collect these inserts? Do you want to go after this character? Rather than buying a box and having a full set and just going down a checklist. So that doesn't exist so much. Also, if you're looking to buy cards from the 90s and you're looking at boxes, be aware that a lot of cards from the 90s were glossy in terms of how they were printed. And that gloss does cause the cards to stick together. So when you're going through packs and you're opening cards, you're going to start to see that you have to pull them apart. And most of the time the surface of these cards are going to stick together and create white dots, ripping. It's just a mess. So let's talk a little bit about modern Marvel cards and how most of them are now in a tiered level fashion. So first off, this all started with the 2013 Fleur Retro Set. This set really introduced some of the more premium insert cards from the sports world, from the sports hobby world. That was the Jambalayas, the TI-22s, the Intimidation, the PMGs that you're hearing about so frequently now. And they put Marvel characters on these high-end insert sets, and they became very expensive. That was kind of the start. Eventually you get to Marvel Masterpieces 2016, and then it gets a little difficult because now the cards are in these tier systems. I know all this sounds kind of confusing, but trust me, modern Marvel cards is kind of where it's at. They're hard numbered, so you know the rarity you have. They're beautiful images. Most of them are original art, and there's some really cool fancy inserts that we just didn't have in the 90s. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, trust me. This video is to kind of help you see that there is a light at the end of this tunnel. And I'm going to give you some of the resources to do your own research. And that kind of brings me to my next thing. Join some social groups. Go on Instagram, be on this YouTube channel, comments down below, join my Instagram, join my fellow Marvel card vloggers like Gingy Man, Spidey Jew 09, Elusive Collectibles, Marvelous Packs. There's some really great people out there doing amazing content to educate you on Marvel cards. Another thing to do, just go to eBay and look at the sold listings. Trust me, there are some outliers, and they are some really strange, random things going on with prices that can be kind of crazy. Reach out to me. Reach out to any of our friends on Instagram that I've mentioned here, or anybody you see I'm following. Look in the comments below. People will be helpful and will be kind. Or you can just DM me and I'll try to put you in the right contact with people. So going back to modern Marvel cards a little bit, you're trying to educate yourself in them by looking at eBay sold listings to see what they sell for. Do not buy boxes just because you like the saying, like, oh, this is the one I'm going to go for. Do a little more research than that, because sometimes if you look at Marvel Masterpieces 2016, there are cards in there called Red Spectrum. There are one-of-ones. A lot of them have already been pooled. A lot of autos have already been pooled. So the chances of you getting something of high quality in one of those boxes might not be as favorable, and the boxes can be expensive. Remember, most of my videos are about educating you, sharing my experience with a hobby, and just trying to build up a community and have a good time. I'm not trying to put the whole fear of missing out thing into anyone, or get you jonesing for Marvel products that you need to go out there and buy now. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I'm trying to share with you things so you don't feel that pressure to just buy and spend money. And that's kind of what modern Marvel card collecting is about right now. It's about choosing what you want to get into and using the resources that we have to get it at a good price and be happy with your collection afterwards. So again, big important key factor here, join our social groups, this YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook. We have a great group there, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide. I'll put links in the chat, put images of the groups on here. Really just some great people there. There's other people too, but mostly really good people, and the hobby's filled with kind people. And that brings me to this next point, which is how to collect. Now, first of all, we've talked about the difference between 90s cards and modern cards. We talked about ways for you to understand how to join social groups, check eBay sold listings for prices, just to educate yourself. And now this third thing is really teaching you what you've been missing out on. With Marvel 90s cards, like I said before, you can get a box, make a checklist, and maybe one more box would give you every card, every insert, and you're done. It's not like that anymore. Nowadays, you really have to pick and choose what you want to be into. Making a full set of anything that comes out now from a Marvel product, it's very daunting, and it's a very long process, and it's going to not be very cost effective. And remember, whenever you go to collect anything, if you try to pile on too much into your collection and then ever try to sell, you're going to find a hard time, because all of a sudden all these buyers that can't reach that price point, they go down to one or two people. And if one person's not interested but the other person might be interested, you're going to be lowering your price over and over again to sell your collectibles. Yes, collect what you love, you won't have to sell it. I don't really believe that. I believe that when you go and try to collect something, your tastes change or your tastes advance, and you use the hobby to fund the hobby, which is what I do. I always end up collecting things I can in my price range. They get a little more expensive. I find something that I always had on my wish list, and I bounce up. It's just climbing the ladder at this point. And that's kind of where the hobby has forced many collectors into, because they are more of a premium product now than they were before. So talking about the different ways to collect, there are pick your own insert, right? Say you like autograph cards from Marvel Anime, then you go for the autograph collection, and there's a lot of them. I think they're numbered out of 120 or 199, something like that. That's a lot of autographs that are up for picking. That means a lot of people can get in and say, I'm going to make an autograph set from Peach Momoko's Marvel Anime set. And that's a really cool idea, right? The idea that you can pick your inserts, pick a character like me, right? I go after the Silver Surfer, so I collect only Silver Surfer cards. It really helps me focus in my spending when it comes to Marvel hunting, right? Other ways to collect are like the tiered cards. When you get into Marvel Masterpieces, there are multiple tiers cards. They're the same card, they might have a different foiling, like orange. If you're familiar with Star Wars, you've seen this board. It might have an orange parallel, and the difference there is this, each orange parallel is numbered out of 99. Or purple parallel, which one's numbered out of 199, right? Take these opportunities to make a really interesting collection for yourself and staying in budget. And again, that's the whole trick behind collecting Marvel today, is to pick your own adventure, right? Instead of putting all this pressure on you to live the dream that you had when you were in the 90s and collecting all those cards all at once. Another thing to think about, let's say 90s cards are your thing, right? But you want to collect at a different level. A good idea is to look at grading, right? We all know that many Marvel card collectors don't keep their cards in particularly great shape. We mostly find them at the free market for 25 cents each. It's only currently been around this time period where we've had a resurgence of cards and interest in Marvel cards, and that's why they're getting a little more expensive. I think a great thing to do is to maybe look at grading cards that are not hard numbered, because the grading process actually puts a hard number on them. Let me explain. Let's say I have a particular card. This card has 7 of this very specific card graded at this level, maybe at a 9, right? That's called a pop 7. So technically, What you've done is you've taken a card that's been massively produced, and now you're saying, okay, but there's only 7 in this high-end condition. That puts a level of rarity on that card that wasn't there before. Yes, that pop count can increase as more people go to great cards. But you might not know this, but in sports, they have very high pop counts, and the cards are still considered very valuable because the audience is so big in sports cards. So this will all catch up. Just a little bit of a way of understanding how the collection you have now can become more interesting to you. The hunt can continue with the cards you already have rather than trying to buy in on all these higher price point cards, which is not always something you have to do. So here are a couple of resources to help you find cards at more reasonable prices. Like I said before, you want to look at ebay.com. You want to go to somewhere called compsy.com. You want to be able to look at sold listings. You want to be able to go to these social groups and say, hey, I'm missing this card. Does anybody want to trade? It exists. Yes, it's not your neighbor like back in the day where you can go to your friend's house and trade some cards. I wish that was the case. Unfortunately, it's not. But there's a lot of us who are doing really hard work to kind of give us that feeling back, to give us that bit of nostalgia back, and that friendship and that community. And that's on this channel, that's on Instagram, that's in that Facebook group I'm telling you about, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide. It's all there. It's just a little more difficult now to reach out to everyone. But these places do make it easier. And you can always DM me and check in with me, and I'm happy to hook you up with people who are into the same hobby as you. Same sets as you. Marvel Masterpieces, I know tons of people. Marvel Universe, I got you. There's ways for us to still remain connected and trade with each other and build up this community in a nice way, right? Without having to worry about constantly feeling like I need to buy a box and gamble to trade something. There's ways to get around that bottomless pit of having to continually buy to build up your collection. Another thing to do, and you're probably asking yourself at this point, well, how do I get Marvel Modern cards? I don't see them anywhere. Here's some things to do. You want to find some sports card shops in your area that are Upper Deck dealers. They can order cards from Upper Deck for you, and you could get a box in hand. Or you can go to upperdeck.com/epack or upperdeckepack.com, I think. It will be up here on the screen, and you can actually buy physical product there digitally and have it shipped to you. Now, do double check with some of the products because some of them do have digital cards in them, but some of them are fully physical. And some of them that do have digital cards, you could collect, let's say, 5 Spider-Man digital cards, combine them and make a physical card that can be shipped to you. Sounds confusing at first, but that's why you need to get yourself involved in this community, or hit me up or hit any of our friends up to kind of ask questions. I will put up another video on how ePack works, so hopefully I can make it a more simpler and painless process for you, which I'm more than happy to do. There are ways to buy cards, and there are ways to buy cards within your budget. And that will be a next video coming when we talk about cards under $100. It's all on its way, I promise. So that wraps up this short video. I just want to give you a little bit of insight and that there are things coming to the channel. There will be a part 2 of this where I go into the more specifics of different inserts and so forth, and I'll bring on a friend to help me out. So for the giveaway, do check out the thing below. Again, I'm giving away this uncut sheet. I'm trying to get to 500 followers. I will be sending this anywhere in the world to that person rolled up into a tube. They're difficult to find, and they're difficult to find in this clean mint condition. So please let me know how you are doing with your collection. Let me know in the comments below what you need from me, which questions you have about modern Marvel collecting, so I can get on that part 2 for you and help you out with those resources. Anything in this video I mentioned that I don't put in the description down below, just remind me in the comments below, and I will go ahead and reiterate myself and give you all the insight I can in terms of what I would know for the hobby. Anyway, thank you so much for being with me and taking the time, and I'll see you all soon.